Live yet. Hello, World Wide Web. Welcome to the Hangin With Web show live on HWWS WebTV. I'm your host, GW Pomichter. Thank you so much for logging on, tuning in, flipping computer switches, hitting the mouse, doing all the stuff that brought you here. Thank you. Please like, share, comment on this video. We've got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. So just keep hanging out with us and sharing the video all around the places. I know Terry MacGyver's here from Ireland. I know Matt MacGyver's probably here, and Kyle Nunez, and all of you guys. Hit the share button and let everybody know what we're doing tonight. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you. You guys know, the guys that watch the Hangin' With Web show know I've told the story 1,000 times because I told you before, one of my favorite interviews that I've ever done was when Sage and Dina sort of put me on the spot and introduced me to one of the actresses that I have known and been such a fan of for such a long time. And they put me on the spot. And I figured that it was time for me to do an interview from a position of almost professionalism where I wasn't drooling and gawking and doing all the things that you do. I was at a convention and I was doing the convention thing. So I figured it was time that we brought this person back on the show. We've had her on the Hangin' With Web show radio hour once before where we got to talk about powerful women in sci-fi. And now it's time to come back on the video show here and talk about what she's up to now. So, guys, please welcome to the screen one of my favorite interviews of all time, and I know one of y'all's favorite people of all time. Please welcome Claudia Christian.
Woo!
Hi. How are you?
I'm fabulous. It's
oh,
funny.
My Lord, you've been globe-trotting.
I know. It's been wonderful. I cannot recommend Denmark highly enough to those intrepid travelers out there. It was a fabulous trip, much needed. I don't know if you realized, but the last time I took a trip was in 2018 with Patricia Tallman.
Yes.
My favorite redhead, my Babylon 5 co-star and bestie. She and I went to France for 6 weeks. We started in England and ended up in Brittany and we drove over all the way down Normandy, Brittany, cut over where Bordeaux is, went all the way through to the Dordogne region, and just had a marvelous time in the dead of winter because I wanted to see what it was like in the winter. And I'll tell you, everything's closed. So,
well,
surprise. I decided that I didn't want to move there because nothing's open. I couldn't even buy food on Sundays. Everything closes at lunchtime, and all the sites and everything are closed. So this year, I know, then we had that little pandemic thing.
Yeah, the little thing that locked us, like Earth was closed. I think there was a sign, like Marvin the Martian had a sign that said Earth is closed.
Yeah, exactly. Gone fishing.
Gone.
Gone fishing sign was on planet Earth. So this trip sort of manifested in a way where I sincerely just needed to get out of my head. I had lost a lot of people very close to me, including my father, my stepmother, 2 aunts, one of my dearest friends, all died, and I was in these 4 walls, and I started to become very internalized, and I think I had even a little bit of fear involved leaving the house. And when you can die when you go to the grocery store, it's pretty bloody scary, and you hold all this in. And I think a lot of us sort of held it all in and held it together, and on the outside everything was fine, and I was creative and I was doing stuff and all that, but on the inside I think that I needed to challenge myself and to get into an uncomfortable place and to really assure myself that I still had courage. And that's why this trip came about. And I have to say that it was liberating, it was freeing, it was healing, it was It was exactly what the doctor ordered for me.
I'll tell you, it looked like a lot of fun as well.
It was just, well, originally I started it with this plan called The Kindness of Strangers. I wanted to do a show. This is my idea for a travel show. Nobody out there better steal it. But my idea was to plop down a genre actor or actress into a country where they've never been and they don't speak the language, and have them meet the fans from their most popular show. So it could be a Game of Thrones actor or an Expanse actor, Babylon 5 actress, whatever, and you drop them into this country and they meet the local fans. So it could be Hungary, Russia, Korea, could be, and I just thought this would be fantastic. So I tested it, and it was phenomenal. I mean, it was. I met the loveliest people. I had one of the best days taking a bicycle around Copenhagen with this absolutely delightful couple. One is a futurist, and she's retired, and
now, had you met these fans before, or was this the first? No. So this is just, you just randomly met new people.
I put one post up on Instagram and Facebook, and I had such a huge response. I took the post down because once I reached enough people, I just thought this is becoming overwhelming. So I'm just going to get a few people, select them, the ones that seemed to have the best command of English, because what's the point otherwise? You can't.
You can't speak.
I want to have. Yes, I don't speak Danish, so it's a very difficult language. I wanted to have a very nice connection with them, so that was one priority. And most Danes do speak English. About 84% of them actually speak English. And also I just wanted to have people that that knew their area and had something interesting to show me. The criteria wasn't exactly that strong. I just had a lot of responses, so I whittled it down to people that would be on my travel route. If they were way out of the way. For instance, I was going to go up to Skagen, and there were some lovely, delightful people that I was going to meet up there. But as it turned out, they had big COVID outbreak up there, and I had been on the road for two weeks already, and I didn't feel like driving another, 5 hours and maybe 10 hours, so I cut that part of the trip out. But I met all these people. We did really nice things. I saw their towns. I heard their personal stories. We connected on many levels. There was a young man in Koya, which is spelled Koge, Koge, but it's pronounced Koya. So I'm saying that wrong, like a Swede. But anyway, you get the point. He had lost his mother, and we connected on the loss of a parent, and we walked around his hometown, which was absolutely stunning, with some of the oldest buildings and homes in all of Denmark, classic examples of 16th century.
Wow. How wonderful, though, to be able to connect on as you're learning, it be shown around by somebody who's from there and who knows the area, and to connect on such a personal level is just, it's one of the things about this. It's one of the things about, I think, this community and our sci-fi geekdom and is that it really is a community. When people meet you, they're excited to meet you, the person, which is
but I've made some really good friends. I mean, I don't know if Mags is out there, but if so, I mean, Margaret Reynolds, she's a delightful friend of mine. Nat, my writing partner, Michael, he was a fan. I mean, I have genuine friends out there that that happen to be fans. I made another wonderful friend on this trip in Denmark. I think I made a couple of friends, and it's true. There's an openness to this community because we all have this special bond. I had the experience of playing a seminal character, a character that was incredibly important to me, one that I will hold with honor and love in my heart forever. And the fans have the opportunity to have grown with that character and seen that character. So we have that bond, and I think it's.
Was there ever a period? And by the interviewer in me kicks in here once in a while. Was there ever a period, just after the show or around the show, where you didn't embrace the character as much as you do now, and the fandom as much as you do now?
No, I think the only time that I had a hard time with conventions, was when I was in the midst of my drinking problem. That was really the hardest time for me because I was miserable. I was stuck in addiction. But I mean, throughout Babylon 5, I didn't have an addiction. So after Babylon 5, I had many years of health and happiness. But it was in my late 30s, early 40s when it kicked in. And there was a time when I had committed to some conventions and I wasn't finding joy in anything, much less a convention. So I think that's the only time that I disliked my sci-fi life, but that had nothing to do with.
But it wasn't the show or the part or the fans. It was the addiction.
It was me. Nothing would have made me happy at that point. I was battling one of the most. It was the lowest depth of misery. I mean, I think addiction really is the lowest depth of misery, more than anything, because you're just not in control and you're miserable and you're fighting it every day of your life. And you're in a constant state of survival, and it's a miserable place to be. So I don't think anything would have made me happy, but I never disliked Ivanova or the writing or my friends from Babylon 5 or my memories of the show.
Well, and you guys all stayed really kind of close through the years too. Pat just posted some pictures of y'all's first dinner together since COVID.
Yes, that's something. That's something that we came together for something that we're not allowed to talk about. So there's that.
The whole internet just broke.
I know.
And that's good. Good guys, be speculative, and you guys come up with your own ideas, and then someday, Claudia, and then we'll be able to tell you what's real.
We'll be able to talk about it hopefully soon. But no, we genuinely love each other, and that is, I think, that shows in the energy in the show itself, and certainly at conventions. And I mean, I've never in my almost 40-year career now in television, I've never worked with better people in my life.
That is fantastic.
Yeah. And I mean, I've literally never had more fun on a job than I did. It was an absolute thrill to go to work every day. I looked forward to it. Because it was such a hoot. And that's because of the people. And that's not just the cast. The crew was extraordinarily nice people too. I mean, everybody from makeup to grips were just wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hello, Kelly Dubois. We appreciate you being here. And she says, such a tease. Yes, that's exactly what that was. The whole internet guys speculate. What did Claudia want to tell us that she couldn't tell us today?
Well, Kelly, I can trust to tell you. I'll tell you. Kelly built my beautiful website, ClaudiaChristian.net, by the way.
Oh.
Yes. And she's been a friend for years.
Wow, that is fantastic. Thank you, Kelly, for being with us. And thank you to Cheryl for coming in. Mark V. Lee, thank you for coming in. Mark wants you to know you look great.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you, Mark. And so, okay, fine, ladies. Guys, we're going to dive into what Claudia has been up to here in just a few minutes. But we actually have to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk about Claudia's books, her acting, what she's been up to, and what's coming up this week that we wanted to tell you guys about as well. So stay tuned in and stay logged on, and we'll be right back.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
In the summer of 1953, private investigator Will Lucky Marks was working as the in-house private eye for Arcane Pacific Pictures. Trapped inside the studio with the killer, Lucky must find the killer before time runs out. Lot 28. Own it today. Available iTunes and Amazon.com.
What was it you promised your old man?
Never give up. Do something they'll never forget. I'm afraid I am a coward. I'm sorry for everything.
Meg,
This is my
you'll
moment.
be missed.
If I had done this long time ago.
A true movie-land tragedy.
It would have saved a lot of pain.
Peg Entwistle, known for her spectacular Broadway performances and a promising movie career, is gone.
They'll never forget this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Guys, thanks for joining us. If you're just hopping on right now, please go ahead and hit the share button and the like button. We are hanging out with, please welcome Claudia Christian back to the screen. And that'll happen. Yes, there it is. Welcome back. Yes. So we had been talking about your travels in the last segment, and we kind of hit on what you've been up to here now. Guys, for those of you that don't know, in addition to being a phenomenal actress that's drawn us all together here, Claudia is also a quite prolific author now. I think there's 6 books now. Is that what we're up to?
Yeah, I think.
Yes,
yeah.
I remember telling the girls I was very jealous because you have one more than I have now. And I'm
oh,
wow.
Yeah, we have Morgan Grant Buchanan, my writing partner, on some of my projects. He and I have another Tor Macmillan book coming out in 2022, which I'm really excited about, set in a alternate Elizabethan world. It's a young adult novel that has a kick-ass protagonist. Wow. Once again, a female protagonist. I can't help myself now. She's a fantastic character, and it dives into the whole spy atmosphere of the Elizabethan time period. So it's a book that I'm excited about. That's coming out next year. And then, some of this stuff is, nonfiction, like Journeys. And
you have Journeys that's out now, I know. So tell us a little bit about what is Journeys about?
Journeys is a collection of stories from people in the Sinclair method. That's the treatment that I advocate for alcohol use disorder. And I wanted to show, in my documentary, One Little Pill, I showed real people on the method. And in this book, I wanted to collect the stories of people who've used the method for their own alcohol misuse, just so that it would be relatable to other people who are searching for a solution to their drinking problems. It's nice, to me, at least, to hear personal stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly. In other words, if somebody had a problem with compliance or with side effects or whatever it is, that you could read these stories, learn from them, get tips from them, and also have a realistic idea of how it's going to work for you without comparing your journey to somebody else's. But I just believe that the more information and the more normalizing we make this, the more normal we make this method, and the more awareness we bring to this method, that the more people are going to find it and get better. And as I always say, what would this world look like with 78% less alcoholics in it? It would look a lot different, and there'd be a lot more, at least, inner peace. I know. And also in classic harm reduction with 78% less people abusing alcohol, maybe just drinking infrequently or on special occasions. And this would trickle down into car accidents, productivity at work, children. I mean, imagine having a parent who's no longer addicted to alcohol. I mean, it's, this is a multi-generational issue that is not going away. In fact, during the pandemic, drinking escalated in unbelievable ways. I mean, it just skyrocketed, especially amongst women. Women were turning to alcohol for everything during the pandemic. And it's, I hate to say it, but the alcohol companies are marketing towards women and children and, the youth out there. But especially saying to women, this is your mommy juice, your wine o'clock time. They even make the bottles like skinny alcohol. It's all BS. It's the bottom line is, as the last great medical research, the clinical research that came out basically said, and everyone's ignoring this because the alcohol companies don't want us to know about it, but the last huge report issued said basically any amount of ethanol, which is what alcohol is, for a human body is not healthy. And yet everyone ignores that and keeps, spouting and quoting the Mediterranean diet and saying, oh, it's wonderful. We don't drink as Americans. We don't drink in a Mediterranean manner at all.
No, and because it's, I think this is one of those things, and you hit on it. And I know after you first told me about the Sinclair method and looking it up, I found it's one of the things they touched on. Because we have done a thing as a species forever doesn't mean we were right in the first place.
Exactly.
It just means we've never changed our behavior. And, it's interesting that you talked about all of the people that benefit from 78% less alcoholics in the world.
Yeah.
And you hit on children. And I proudly tell everybody, my oldest son saved my life because he was the catalyst for me to stop drinking when I was very young. And, I had just barely started down what was a very dangerous and dark road. And just to share the story with you, I was deployed with the Army. I was overseas in Egypt, where the one thing they make sure you have plenty of is booze. And so with 50-cent beers and 50-cent shots at the enlisted club on the post, I was taking advantage quite frequently. And as is the case with many young people, I would put my beer muscles on and be quite confrontational. And I got myself into a fight with a gentleman who to this day I'm still in touch with, and who's a super guy. He was telling me I was doing something wrong when I insisted that I wasn't, because alcohol. And and we got into a fight, and my son had given me, just before my deployment, a little gold cross that I wore on my neck. And anyone can tell you that Egypt in particular, the desert is not kind when you lose something. You don't find it again. And I remember spending days thinking the only thing I had that tethered to me, to my son, was gone because I got drunk.
Yeah.
For the 5th time that week and for the umpteenth time that month. And so in a very difficult place and a very difficult time, I literally decided that night, I'm never losing anything else important to me.
That is amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. And that, it's interesting you say that, because it took me a long time to understand that everything that I could have potentially lost, or pretty much everything bad that happened to me, had alcohol involved with it.
What was the catalyst for you that made you seek out treatment and the Sinclair method? How did you find the Sinclair method?
Oh, well, I mean, that's quite a long story, but in my late 30s, a few people started to say, you drink a lot and you drink very quickly. So I sort of said, okay, well, watch this. And I went sober. And what I didn't realize is that by going sober, I was triggering what's known as the alcohol deprivation effect. So meaning that you can get a bout of sobriety under your belt, but then your cravings increase because you're depriving your brain of the one thing it's had on this regular basis. And by that point, my neural pathways were enlarged. I had the genetic predisposition to develop an alcohol use disorder. And I was engaging in that behavior on a regular basis. So here I have my neural pathways wide and big, and now I starved them of alcohol. And 4 or 5 months into my sobriety, I said, well, clearly I don't have a problem, because I didn't have a drink for 4 or 5 months. So I had one drink, and that triggered me to now become a binge drinker. So I went from a light drinker to a social drinker to a heavier drinker to now a binge drinker. And wow. now I became this person who did not have an off button at all. So when I was a heavy social drinker and drinking like 3-4 nights a week, lots of wine, that was a completely different type of drinker than what I was now after that deprivation period, that sobriety. This is kind of why you hear when people get out of rehab and they spectacularly relapse, or someone who has 20 years of 12 steps under their belt and they're sober, and then they go out and have one beer and suddenly they're found underneath a freeway pass somewhere. I mean, it is amazing that when you have this, what happens is the brain just starts to go crazy. So at that point, my years were broken down into sobriety, binging, relapse, sobriety, relapse, sobriety, relapse. And that's pretty much what it was for a few years before I found TSM in 2009. So, and the way I found TSM was I went to a medical detox, and on the way out, grabbed some flyers, one of which was for a treatment that included naltrexone. And I looked up the name of the medication and found the book Cure for Alcoholism. And the rest is history. I went on it. It worked so quickly for me. I wrote to the publisher and said, how do I get a hold of this person? And he saved my life. And I spoke to Dr. Roy Escapa, who wrote that book. He introduced me to Dr. David Sinclair, whose 30, 40 years of research saved my life. I asked what I could do. They said, write a book. And the rest was, I wrote the book. Wow. I made the documentary. I opened up my nonprofit C3 Foundation in 2013. And then subsequently, of course, wrote Journeys and did the TEDx talk, which 3 million people have seen. Spoke at the US Senate, started a coaching page during the pandemic so that people could get more personalized help from various TSM expert coaches. And now we're just continuing to try to grow. My nonprofit is very grassroots. We are donor driven. We rely on donations. So it's not like we're the Gates Institute, literally we have Jenny and me, and that's it. We are the only employees of C3 Foundation, and we have some wonderful volunteers, and that's about it. So, and
guys, check that out online at c3foundation.org.
Thank you.
And really look into that. For those of you that aren't familiar with this, the Sinclair method, among other things, to completely oversimplify this in a way that will make me sound like a complete idiot, is what's the name of the drug again?
Naltrexone. Naltrexone, and in the Europe and the UK they use nalmefene.
And which it basically inhibits your body's dopamine response to alcohol.
It's an opiate antagonist, an opiate blocker. So what that means is the endorphins that are released from alcohol are then blocked, so they cannot bind to the opiate receptor.
And that way your brain does not instantly associate alcohol with the good feelings and positive feelings that come from that dopamine being released into your system.
It's kind of like, it becomes like water. You look at it and go, meh. I mean, you can feel relaxed and you can certainly enjoy the taste of the cold beer, but then you might even be satisfied with a non-alcoholic, especially now they make these IPAs that are phenomenal.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
So, but it's a way, especially those of you who are predisposed to alcohol or drug addiction. What it does is it helps your brain to not associate the pleasure principle with alcohol. For those, psychology tells us the pleasure principle: anything that feels good is good, anything that feels bad is bad. It's how about 70% of us live our lives. And if you happen to have an addictive personality or addictive personality disorder, I believe it's called, you're susceptible. You're susceptible to anything that feels good is good. And your brain can be easily wired that way. You become conditioned. It's a conditioned response.
You learn it. It's a learned behavior. And,
yes.
and that's, I mean, we're not talking about people who self-medicate, people who have been in, like you, I mean, Army, Navy, Marines. I mean, I have a lot of people in the military that were self-medicating for PTSD. But just in a physiological level, yes, when you engage in this behavior and you have the predisposition genetically, you learn the behavior. So much like Pavlov and the dog, with naltrexone or nalmefene, you can unlearn the behavior because the human brain does have an eraser. So if like, everyone knows the story of Pavlov, he was ringing the bell and then the dog and feeding the dog. So now the dog associated the bell with the food. So the dog started salivating. Then Pavlov stopped giving him the food with the bell, and eventually the dog unlearned salivation. So this is what we're doing. Yes.
And people like us have that predisposition so that it's easy to teach our bodies to want more alcohol.
Oh gosh, it doesn't even become a choice. That's the thing, is what people talk about. Well, just have some willpower. Now, I think Nancy Reagan really screwed us over big time. It was like, just say no. Well, she's never had her brain hijacked by an addiction, clearly,
and it is,
or an eating disorder. That would be like telling someone not to breathe.
Yeah, and for those of you that don't know, addicts, even those who are successful sometimes at being able to get rid of one addiction, the nature of addiction is that without proper treatment and without a support mechanism and all the things that we need as addicts, we trade in one for another. You might trade in alcohol for cigarettes or drugs for gambling, or we trade in one addiction for the other because we want that rush. We need that rush, and your brain is hijacked. And the Sinclair method is a way that you can hijack it back from
you don't see people on TSM outside smoking and drinking styrofoam cups of coffee and shoving sugar down their throat because they're not trading one addiction for the next. Their brain has gone back to normal. So they're not receiving those. In fact, some people say when they're on TSM, suddenly they don't gamble, they don't do cocaine as much, they're not smoking as much. These activities are related for a lot of people, so it really helps online addictions, eating disorders. So it's quite remarkable, and I think we're slightly ahead of our time, but I'm fairly confident. I always said it would take about 10 years, and it certainly has grown. When I started, there were no Facebook pages, there was no support groups, and now there are thousands and thousands of people all around the world on TSM supporting each other and creating content. So I think it's grown a lot, and it may not look that way to the outside world, but for instance, the entire country is covered with TSM friendly and supportive doctors. So that's pretty amazing. In all of Canada, all of Australia.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The growth has been amazing. And
the growth is incredible. Yeah.
We're always happy to share stuff that you're doing with the C3 Foundation across the board. And we love sharing One Little Pill, the documentary, and helping to do that. Guys, we have a clip in the file here. Claudia could talk here directly all about St. Clair Method very passionately. She is very passionate about this, and you guys could definitely look it up. We're going to show a clip of Claudia speaking to a forum about the St. Clair Method, and just a few, what we did in 30 seconds, because, we didn't want YouTube to kill us for copyright. So here's a little clip of Claudia speaking on the stage. And one of the things that one of the elements that people who suffer from addiction face every day.
As Dr. Keith Humphreys from Stanford University said, it's remarkable that people believe what's needed is more punishment. If punishment worked, there wouldn't be any addiction. If we addicts had a normal disease, we would be treated with sympathy and comfort. Instead, we're faced with a barrage of, why can't you just quit? So why do so many people believe that a long-term battle with alcohol addiction can be simply stopped?
And all of the answers that you want to all of those questions you can find. Go to the c3foundation.org and check out what Claudia is working on next. And check out, we got the books Journeys, which is about the St. Clair Method, and also Babylon Confidential, which is your own personal memoirs.
Yes.
So please check those out, guys. And why should you say there's an actress and she says all these great things and you should listen to her? Why? Let me show you why. Dina, show them why they should definitely.
On your trip back, I'd like you to take the time to learn the Babylon 5 mantra. Ivanova is always right. I will listen to Ivanova. I will not ignore Ivanova's recommendations. Ivanova is God. And if this ever happens again, Ivanova will personally rip your lungs out. Babylon Control out.
And that's why you should listen to Claudia.
Babylon Control out. It's so funny.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my God.
Guys, so I know since Babylon 5, you've been working and doing a lot of things. We caught on Amazon Prime. We caught this next one. This is, guys, after 4 years of deep space drama, of just the highest quality, groundbreaking, and we'll talk about that in a minute, Claudia had a little fun with space and went to an emotionless world where she had a little bit of fun, a little bit more lighthearted than Babylon 5, but still pretty deep, heady stuff. So here's a little bit of a teaser for what you can find on Amazon Prime. You guys can find this. So here, check this one out.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
The year is 3034. We have medically suppressed our emotions to stop our conscious. We are a cold, clinical race, and do not tolerate those who will not conform to our image. We are at war with the Reptids, one of the last remaining alien races. The Reptids have one final plan that could change the human race forever. One obstacle remains in their path: the crew of the Dreadnought Nemesis.
I had a lot of fun watching that. That was just campy sci-fi fun.
Oh, bless Jeremy Bullock. I miss him so. He was so funny as Dr. Stryker. Oh my gosh.
I laughed, and what I loved about it was seeing all of the things that, I took it all the time. It's great. Science fiction takes some of the most in-depth discussions that we refuse to have and has them in a non-threatening way.
Yeah.
But it's usually very serious subject matter, and it's so fun to watch you guys poke fun at the genre we all love and have fun with it. And that was so much fun to see. And I'm loving even the satirical looks of things like the Orville now and things like that take us and say, hey guys, this is the stuff we love, but it can be a lot of fun. And let's just flip the camera around a little bit and see how serious you guys are taking this whole thing. And it's a lot of fun to do. And you guys did that really well in Star Hike, and we had a good time watching. And
we had fun. Rachel Grant, Sue Ann Braun. I mean, just a lovely, once again, really lovely cast. We laughed all our way. I mean, it was really low budget, as you could tell. And I mean, talk about cardboard sets. Incredibly low budget, but we just laughed every day. It was a hoot. So yeah, that's silly. But
and you got, you know, guys, for those of you who've been waiting for all those years, you know, sometime between 1998 and 2009, Claudia got her command. So she got command of the ship, and
not the right ship, but yes, a ship.
That's right. A ship. That's right.
A ship. Yes.
That's right. So, speaking of command, for those of us who are sci-fi fans and got to know Ivanova during those 90s years, we know that you bring a sense of command to everything you do. You truly do. And here's another example from 2018 to 2001's 911.
No.
Here's Claudia taking charge again.
So the CEO calls the mayor, who calls the captain, who calls you?
Yep, that's exactly right, but they can all piss off. I know about May, and I'm sorry. I can't even imagine what you're going through right now. The rage that must be coursing through your veins.
I appreciate that.
You're not going to appreciate this. You used your badge to exact a personal vendetta, exposing yourself and this entire department to a lawsuit. You're out of line and too assertive with a minor. I'm putting you on restricted duty effective immediately. You're riding the desk.
I had a question after going and checking out 911. I going from science fiction, where we do talk about some incredibly important issues of the day in a very veiled way, to something like 911 that hits it head on. Was that a challenge for you as an actress, where you're hitting these day-to-day issues in a head-on way? There's no veil. It's not an alien. It's not we're going to hit this right on the head. And talking about emergency workers and 911 workers, law enforcement and emergency workers, what was the transition like to go from, kind of this veiled reference that we have in science fiction to here it is, baby. Let's just lay it out. Here's what cops are like. Here's what people are like in a real world.
I think, the most important thing for me to in Captain Maynard, and I've received some pushback, is I really try to make her as kind and empathetic as possible, because there's just no room to portray yet another a-hole police officer. I mean, this is a career police officer who's finally risen to captain in a male-dominated career, and I just don't feel the impetus to play tough, because I'm tough naturally. So I don't feel like, that's why I smile a lot as Maynard. I mean, there's no reason to be, to come from a.
I think that's why we chose that clip, because it was one of those clips that shows you were, you started out tough and then empathetic and then still tough.
But you have to realize also that that in the show, she and Angela started out together.
Yeah,
they were young cops together. There was an episode with a flashback of when they were in their early 20s. So this is a friend. This is them talking to. Also, it's not like they're equals. It's not. So when you're talking about insubordination or something like that, that's coming from a job perspective, but also has to be done with a disappointment and a friendship and all the rest of the stuff. But I have some directors on the show always saying, toughen it up, and I'm like, I think I have a natural, as you say, naturally, I come from a place with my voice, and there's an authoritative
authority. You have that authority built into your performance.
Yeah, I don't have to push it. I don't feel the need.
And it also, I think, shows like 911 and 911 in particular is what we saw of it. They're about making the people real, and helping us understand that the people that we see as authority figures or that we see within our community with authority are also human beings going through human things.
Yeah, and they have bad days at work, or their kids are in trouble, like in that episode. You know, they're dealing with family issues. But it's also, you know, yes, when you don't have aliens and everything, you have bad guys. It's. I think that at the end of the day, 911 is for entertainment. There's a formula to each episode. There's some risk taking, and there's some, but it's you know, you just try and make the characters, the humans on the show as realistic as possible, and try and form some sort of relationships. I mean, I don't have a lot to do on the show, so for me, it's kind of challenging because I pop in, you know, a couple times a year, and that's about it. But you know, I'm grateful for the work, and it's always great to be on a really wonderful show, and there's incredible people involved in that show. You know, Brad Falchuk and Ryan Murphy, and I mean, it's just, you know, top of the top. So. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for providing so much. Thank you for providing us with entertainment. And, you know, you guys have heard me say this 1,000 times on the show. At the end of the day, yeah, the politicians are going to push the votes and the police are going to enforce the laws and everything else. But what changes hearts and minds are the artists, because they get into your heart and mind. They entertain you in a way, and they tell you and they show you what's human. That reminds us that all the toil and strife we go through, other people are going through too, whether it's police officers or spaceship administrators. Our human condition doesn't change. And that's what's going to help us to be the better us, is the work that you do, Claudia, in the arts. So thank you for doing that work and helping us so much.
You know what? It's been such a dream come true to play characters that people relate to, especially Ivanova. I mean, to play a bisexual Jewish character on a sci-fi show that was so beloved. It touched on so many different levels of relatability to individuals. So I'm just grateful that it resonates through the generations. And I still have young people coming up to me and saying, wow, you know, you made me feel normal, or gave me an aspiration. And that's all due to, you know, the great writing of Babylon 5. That it was an epic story and wonderful writing.
It really was. And it's a, you know, a lot of times people will talk about Babylon 5 for its groundbreaking, things like the CGI effects and those kind of things, but it broke ground in another way too. And that's that it altered the way we watch television, because it was such an epic story that, you know, up until that point, if you wanted to tell a long format story, you did it with a mini series, maybe 6 episodes, a one-off. And the Babylon 5 goes 5 seasons of a continued story arc. And that's the new norm. Today, that's what you get on Netflix. It's what you get on Disney Plus if you're a Marvel fan. It's what you get. It's what HBO gave us in Game of Thrones.
It used to be that only soap operas did that. That's why this is called the Great Space Opera. You know, and it also, I think, in a time where things weren't very diverse, Babylon 5 was all about diversity, different races, different ethnicities, different sexualities, I mean, we tackled it all early on, way before other shows did. That was something
you guys you changed the way storytelling is done on television. And I think it can be understated.
I'm not taking credit for that. That was JMS.
Well, yeah, look, JMS but everybody involved in that project, you guys did something that you created something that I think is really special through the years. And that's that, you know, we were able to use the science fiction as a catalyst for changing the way television is watched, to the point where now I don't think I've seen a show in 5 years that hasn't been a long arc of some sort. Even episodic television is like, it's an episode, but with a longer arc somewhere in the background, a longer story thread.
Breaking Bad, Billions, think of them all. They're all giant story arcs. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, and I mean, that was something that in the 90s, like you said, was very rare. It wasn't something you got all the time. And so it's incredible to see what you guys built there. And they are, speaking of Netflix, they're going to, okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to tell you what Claudia's got coming up just in a few short days that you can get involved in. So stay tuned in and stay logged on, and we'll be right back.
This is Cosplay Michael with the Hangin With Web show. I want to tell you about my friends at Embellis Effects in Orlando, Florida. They've got makeup, costumes, and props for all of your costume needs. And the team at Embellis Effects is helpful and friendly. Embellis Effects is one of my favorite places, and I know it will be yours too. I'll see you there. Or go to embelliseffects.com. And remember, cosplay is for everyone.
How you doing, everybody? This is KG Bethlehem. I'm an author of a new book called Certain Moments of Time. It's a collection of short stories. These short stories range from post-apocalyptic, dystopian, anti-utopia, as well as general fiction. You can find Certain Moments of Time on sale at Amazon.com, where you can purchase the ebook format as well as paperbook format. You can also purchase it at Lulu.com, paperbook format, and will be on sale soon at BarnesandNoble.com.
I'm GW Pomichter.
I'm Dina Marie.
I'm Sage Ia.
I'm Thomas Carter Rochester.
Hey, I'm David Thompson.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Mia.
Hi, I'm Mark.
Hey there, this is Dave Adams.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Rose.
Jerome Conner here.
Hey guys, it's Josh Bauer.
It's Willow Schuyler.
I'm Cosplay Michael.
I'm
It's your boy Country.
I'm Ryan Permison.
And I'd like to ask you guys,
please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe.
Please, please, please
subscribe.
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 Please subscribe to HWWS
WebTV.
Great bunch of people.
And don't forget to smash the bell.
Ring that bell.
Smash that bell.
Hit that bell.
Hit the bell to be notified.
Hit the bell to get notified of new shows
And videos.
You're going to want to do that, so do that soon.
So we can cross that 20,000 mark.
And get us to 100,000 subscribers.
To 1 million, and 10 million, and 100 million.
On HWWS.
WebTV.
You really like it. I guarantee it.
Thank you.
You're the son of Zeus. Help me kill Zeus, and all that I promised you will be yours.
Let's finish this.
And we're back. And those of you that don't know, that last date was October of last year. So if you haven't checked it out on Netflix yet, check out Blood of Zeus, another Claudia project, where Claudia gets to bring to life the Greek goddess Hera.
Yeah, that was great fun, and it looks like we're going to be doing a season 2.
Wonderful! That is awesome.
Yep.
What's the major? What's it like? Just lending your voice, doing the voice acting, because I know you've done other voice spots as well, as compared to being on set. How was that transition for you?
You know, I started in the 90s doing games and voiceovers, commercials, radio spots, and then I did, of course, the Disney film Atlantis, and then some cartoons, and I just I love it. I don't play video games. I don't have the capacity to, and I don't have all the equipment and all that jazz, nor the desire really. But I love being part of that world. It's something that so many people do and can relate to. And once again, you play these characters that people love. People love a lot of the characters I played in Skyrim, for instance, or World of Warcraft or Call of Duty. I play everything from a blade to a dragon to a pirate to a commander to Russian, Eastern European. I do German, British, American. I mean, it's just so much fun for me, and it's interesting. It's like a little bite of acting. You know, you go in and you do your 4 hours and you read all of these lines. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lines, and then they put them into the game, and then you do bonus materials and you play other characters. They can get you for 3 voices in one session. So quite often I'll play a lead, and then, you know, at the end of it, they'll go, oh, you know, we've got this pirate. Will you do that? Or we've got this old peasant lady, and I'll be like, sure. And then you throw it.
I loved the Blood of Zeus because the anime style has got all the young kids just love this anime style. And what I love is taking that style and using it to reintroduce another generation to our classic gods and goddesses and
mythology. Yes,
and mythology. I think it's a wonderful tool because I've heard my 10-year-old say words that I didn't know he knew, but they're a power move in something that is on an anime show, and I'm like, I had no idea. I was like, I didn't know you knew that word, but they know it from a different context than we do.
Sure.
And so it's really, for me, it was a fascinating idea to see Netflix turn around and say, hey, let's introduce classic gods and mythology and our classic heroes through this anime style and get a whole nother generation talking about Zeus and Hera and the great heroes of the age. So I think that was fantastic.
There are some lessons to be learned in mythology, and they've certainly, they've explored Viking mythology and in many projects. A lot of Roman shows, based on. Morgan and I actually had our book Wolf's Empire, which took great liberties with a lot of Roman gods. Hey, thank you. You're fast. You're very fast. So I agree with you. I think it's great to introduce these classic stories to a younger generation, and anime is such a sexy medium. It really is. I mean, there's just something so vibrant and lively about that art. That
it's a fantastic style of.
It is. It's a great style.
It is.
And it just has energy. It's interesting, and the music in that show is just phenomenal.
Just watching it was. Speaking of music, I love that. She just laughs at me behind the camera, but it's true. Guys, I know you guys probably know Claudia has done her share of singing as well as acting and other things. But our production staff had to have a little fun with this. So, guys, here's just a little snippet of. You guys can find this stuff online too. So just don't be afraid to Google. Be careful what you Google, but don't be afraid to Google. But here's a little something that our production staff just had to do to have a little fun with Claudia.
Oh boy.
So
that is so brilliant. Oh my
you guys can check out that if you guys want to search YouTube, you can find the B5, which is a great collection of our favorite Babylon 5 actors and actresses getting together and jamming some music out.
Yeah.
And it has some great voices that we've lost in recent years, from Mira and Andreas, and it's a great find, guys. So check that out over on YouTube, and you can hear the rest of Claudia's song. That's the song that features Claudia on vocals there. So
yeah, Bill Mooney did a lot of those songs. It's actually a really well produced album, and
it is. Now that was something that was born out of you guys just hanging out together, right? What I was reading? It was kind of just a
Once again, we just love working together, even on these oddball projects, and we all sort of are creative and musically inclined, so it just worked out really, really well.
That is fantastic. Now, speaking of working together, this Saturday, the 31st, is that right? This Saturday, Claudia will be joining Patricia Tallman in B5 events for Delicious, starring Claudia Christian. That's right. And you guys can get tickets to that at b5events.com. What are you cooking? Are you cooking for this? Is that why it's the Delicious? Because
the impetus for the Delicious is so that we can make a big announcement about a project that Pat and I have been working together on for almost a year now. And we're super excited about making that announcement on this Saturday. So that's going to be part of it. I will be whipping up a little something in my beautiful kitchen. And we will be talking about all sorts of projects, and I'll be taking questions, and I'll be giving out advice and cooking ideas and anything anyone wants to talk about, to be honest with you. It's just going to be a fun way to spend a few hours together on a Saturday and And we will make that announcement. So the people who join the Delicious will be the first to know.
That's right. So if you guys haven't got your tickets to that online event, please go and get them now so that you can be in on that first group that finds out what Claudia and Pat are announcing, and see what she's whipping up in the kitchen. Because I know if you guys follow Claudia on Facebook, you probably already know this, but she does a lot of little cooking recipes here and there. I think one of the earliest ones, we actually got Claudia's cookie recipe for what she then called the Boom Shakalaka cookies. You have to have these. If you haven't, we've made them here. We screwed them up royally, but we made them. We tried. But they were good. But here's a little something, guys, from Claudia's Facebook of Claudia in the kitchen.
Today I made this lovely vegetarian sweet potato cauliflower curry. Really easy. Just before I jump on this Armageddon convention thingy. So I did the sweet potatoes, cauliflower, regular potatoes, red curry paste, coconut milk, some kaffir lime leaves, and some lemongrass. And I made some crispy tofu squares to go with it.
Crispy tofu squares.
I have to say, tofu is not my favorite thing. I was trying to eat vegan for a little while there, and it just didn't fly with my body at all. I hate to say that because it's my attempt at helping the planet and reducing my consumption, but I need my fish, man. I mean, I stopped the red meat thing. Very rarely do I even take. I mean, I think I've had red meat twice in the past 3 years, but I can't stop the fish and the occasional poultry. I'm German and Irish, man. I don't know. And you know what? I blew up as a vegan. I blew up. I gained weight. I did not feel any energy.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird. It didn't sit well with me, so to speak. I mean, I eat so clean anyway, and I like to teach people how to eat very clean. But I do eat lean protein.
My son and his wife did sort of I don't think it was quite vegan. It was pescatarian. They did fish.
Yeah, that's kind of what
they did that because my daughter-in-law is a nutritionist. She's a nutrition counselor.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to do healthy, but then of course their first child was coming along, so she had to stay a little extra healthy.
Yeah.
And at it, they were inserting things like you said, lean proteins, and inserting more things back in. So they stay very, like you said, minimal with the meats or whatever. But of course, he was raised, we're very Polish German here. So if you can't butcher it, you don't eat it, just about. So we keep doing that. And so he's put a few of those things back in his diet, but not a lot, because he does try to live as healthy as he can. And he lived in Japan for a year, and the diet there was much cleaner than we have here.
Absolutely. No, the Japanese have.
We had told Claudia before the show, while she was traveling, she took some amazing pictures, and I have to share these with you guys out there, because what a wonderful eye you have. You captured some of the coolest sights and sounds. So we have some photos here, and I just you kind of walk us through and tell us where you were and what you were doing what we're looking at, because they're beautiful shots. So
absolutely.
Let's just start with the first one here. I love this. This is great.
Oh, that was on the island of, I'm going to say it in the English way, Funen. And I was in the middle of a field. I pulled over my car because the GPS got me lost. Google Maps actually got me lost. And I was in such an extraordinarily beautiful area. I just pulled off and took a picture. And I took some pictures of the wildflowers around there and sent them to my mom. And it made her cry because it reminded her so much of her German childhood.
Oh, wow. That's incredible. That was a great shot. And then we have, here we go. Maybe.
Oh, that's the now I'm going to mispronounce it again. Suso River. Shusho, they say.
Shusho.
Yeah, Shusho. It's this gorgeous river. This is when I was in, it's 56 miles long, and it goes through pretty much all of Denmark.
That could have been a postcard, by the way. That really could. It's gorgeous. I mean,
it looks like a Monet painting, honestly. And it was just idyllic. They had people in canoes. I mean, it was ridiculously beautiful. I walked all the way for miles along the river's edge. It was just stupidly gorgeous.
Wow. And then of course we have this This is one of my favorites. I think I was going to use this as a green screen background tonight because it's just gorgeous.
Isn't that pretty? So this is a residential area in Jutland. I think it is. I want to say that it's on the opposite side of in Copenhagen, but I could be wrong. It's a residential street where they grow these beautiful roses over both sides of the house, and I'm spacing out on if it really was in Copenhagen or not. You have to understand, I did the whole bloody country, all three of the major islands. I didn't do the little islands, but I did Zeeland, Funen, and Jutland. So yes, I did. I drove the whole damn thing. So yes.
Talk about a whirlwind, but gorgeous. You took some amazing pictures. There's another pasture, I think, another pasture view. Beautiful.
Oh, yeah, those were the horses near a B&B that I was staying in, or they could be the cows. I'm not sure. I stayed in this incredible little place, also on Funen, that was just stunning. That had cows and horses. I had a beach to myself, completely to myself. In the morning, I would get up. I had woods to myself. I would bicycle for hours and not see a human. It was just amazing, really amazing.
Guys, if you ever get a chance to travel these places and just capture a moment in time in your mind, but let alone on film, it's wonderful to do. So, and thank you for sharing with all your fans and friends on Facebook. It was great to see your travels, and it was great to see it through your lens. Literally.
I think it's one of my favorite things to do. And now that iPhone makes such a great camera on the iPhone 12, it's so easy. I don't have to carry a camera or anything. I just, in a perfect world, I would have shared my entire album. I took about 500 photos and I broke them down into week 1, 2, and 3. And I would have loved to share the whole thing, but I sent the link to a few friends.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
it was just beautiful to see your travels and everything. Guys, you can look forward to seeing Claudia this weekend over at B5 Events. Please check that out. There it is, the delicious starry Claudia Christian. They will be making an announcement, her and Pat. I'm looking forward to that. This B5 Events is great because it's going to give you the experience that you've always wanted. You've gone to conventions, you've done that stuff. You've always wanted to just sit and ask questions and talk one-on-one. This is your chance to do it online. And so don't miss out on that. There it is. Wow, they're quick. So do that and grab your tickets there. There are only a few left, so grab them now, or you're going to have to wait to find out what this announcement is until after. See?
And you won't have fun with me on Saturday morning in the kitchen.
It's right. I mean, gosh, guys, and then you'll have to wait until she posts it online or whatever, but you won't see it live. So get your tickets at B5 Events and check that out. Claudia, thanks for spending an hour with us. I know you've got things to do and you're probably horribly jet lagged after travel, but thank you for hanging out with us a little bit.
It's my pleasure. We're actually shooting the 5th season of 911 this week, so I'm going back to work.
Going back to work, fantastic.
Yeah.
It'll be good to be back on set, I'll bet.
It will be wonderful to be back on set, and I'm really looking forward to seeing those of you on Saturday who signed up. And thank you, GW, for having me on the show, and thanks to your team. What a wonderful presentation you did.
Thank you very much. As I said at the beginning of the show, guys, the last time you saw me talking to Claudia on video, I was just doing the drooling fanboy thing. And for 5 years, I've worked to try to be a professional in this chair. It's the one time they shocked and awed me. Where were we? We were at Pensacon.
Oh boy, it's all good, GW.
It was crazy. And all I can remember is our con watcher for little Michael running up to me saying, "Dad, they need you right now." And I went running over and I'm sweating profusely. And they said, "Claudia is ready to do an interview." And I went, I spent 5 minutes with that look on my face.
No.
So thank you for spending an hour and redeeming me.
The redemption is complete.
Thank you very much. So guys, check out B5 Events. Go on over and check out Claudia's website, see all the new things she's up to, or IMDb, or any of the links that you find in the chat tonight. Thank you, everybody in the chat, Cheryl and Cindy and Valerie. Valerie, yes. I'm sorry, I didn't say that right. And Kelly, of course, thank you for being here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us tonight. And thank you to Claudia for being with us. Guys, you never know who we're going to have on the show. So remember, stay tuned in, stay logged on, and see who we're hanging with next.